This is in the 279th District Court of Jefferson County, Texas, and it's in the interest of Ms. Wallace. And first, Mr. Andrew Walker, I need you to raise your right hand and tell me that your hand is in the air.
My hand is in the air.
Mr. Walker, do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. Miss Louise Wallace, would you raise your right hand, please? Miss Wallace, do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, you can put your hand down. All right, y'all. I'm not going to lie. I've been doing this for 30 years, and this is the first time I've ever seen the Attorney General's office file a lawsuit to throw out one of its own default orders. They have filed a bill of review, which is a sideways attack on an order that I signed several months ago. It is strange for the AG's office to file a sideways attack against its own court order. What they state in this bill of review is that Ms. Wallace has provided them proof that she was not personally served on the modification suit. Ms. Alexander, you represent the state of Texas?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you had an opportunity to review the evidence that Ms. Wallace has sent to the state regarding this citation?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. This states that she was served at 8:33 a.m. on August 26, 2022. However, Ms. Wallace provided information that she clocked in at her employer at 7:57 a.m. and did not leave until 2:08 p.m., then clocked back in at 2:40.
Okay. Well, Mr. Walker, what says you? I mean, what it's like I say, I've never seen the state file a lawsuit to overturn their own court order. So it sounds like there's pretty good evidence that the process server on this case did not actually serve Ms. Wallace with the lawsuit. So I didn't have the right or the jurisdiction to grant this modification. What do you say about that?
Well, it took, I think I filed for the modification December of 21.
Okay.
I probably didn't. Yes, sir. But I'm just trying to get up to the point, and I mean up to the time around that time. I probably got a notice back about it 6 months later, and then I got a review maybe when it was July maybe,
Okay.
and it didn't even take effect right then and there. When she gave me a review, because I was at Louise's house, I actually was there with my kids when I did the phone hearing. She knew about it. She went to work that day. I was at her house that day of the hearing. I told the lady in her bedroom, and it didn't even take effect for another 3 months. And I was trying to explain to her, like, I'm not working for the same company. The company I was working for, and Louise knew this because she's seen a couple of my checks.
Okay.
I wasn't making any money. They was taking everything for child support.
What?
I'm to work for a whole week and bringing home $80-something every now and then. Not all the time, but a bit of the times. And a couple of times I did manage to make some money, sir. But I'm trying to figure out, because I don't live.
Mr. Walker.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to believe everything that you just said is true. I'm not even going to think about what you just said not being true. Everything you just said is absolutely true. Okay. It doesn't change anything.
Yes, sir.
But when you leave it up to a state agency to fix your child support issue, then you are at their mercy as far as how long it takes them to get it done, how long it takes them to serve people, whether or not everybody in the lawsuit is going to cooperate with your efforts. You left it to the AG's office to take care of this problem. So you are at their mercy as far as how long it takes them to finish it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And while I completely understand everything you just said, the simple fact of the matter is Miss Wallace did not participate in the lawsuit that I did last year in this case, simply because she didn't know the lawsuit existed formally. She may have been getting phone calls. You may have been trying to tell her for months that you were trying to get your child support fixed. All of that may be true. In order for me to sign a court order against Miss Wallace, somebody has to physically go out and put papers in her hand to give me, the judge, the court, the right to change your child support. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And they didn't do that in this case. We thought they did because they filed an affidavit saying they did, but they didn't. Okay. I'm going to grant the bill of review, Miss Alexander. I don't have a choice. It's a service issue. If Miss Wallace was not personally served, then the judgment is invalid. It's not any good. It's not worth the paper it's written on.
Yeah.
But Miss Wallace is served now.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You understand that you have now appeared formally in my court, so you are served with this modification suit.
Yes, I was.
When's our reset date, Miss Alexander, so I can hear the original suit?
Let's do, what are we on? Let's do April 13th, Judge.
April the 13th.
Yes.
All right.
Is that,
So this is what's going to happen now. Miss Alexander is going to send me an order that grants the bill of review. That's the sideways attack on their order. And then I'll sign that, get it back to them. They'll file it. That will reopen the original modification suit that was filed last year. And we are going to come back here on April the 13th of 2023, which is only a couple weeks away. And we'll try that modification suit at that time. Okay.
Okay.
All right. The AG's office will send you notice of that hearing date so you know what the Zoom number is. Miss Alexander, how do you intend to send that notice?
It will either be by mail or email. Well, let me see how we sent it last time. Because we did send both of them notice.
I mean, they're both here today, so I know y'all have some method of getting in touch with them to give them the Zoom information, okay?
We sent it to Ms. Wallace by email and Mr. Walker by mail.
Okay, so just watch your mail or watch your email for the Zoom information for that hearing date in April, okay?
Okay.
yes, sir.
You're both free to
Can
go. Yes, did you have something else, Mr. Walker?
Yes, sir. Well, I just need to make sure because I actually received 3 different forms. Like I was emailed that yesterday was my hearing. I have 2 letters stating today was my hearing, one at 9 o'clock and one at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
I got 3 different. I called.
I'm telling you right now, Mr. Walker, it's April the 13th that you will get one. I mean, I don't know why they may have sent you 2 notices for the different times, just because we're kind of going through some minor changes on how we're running our dockets, but it will probably start at 9 o'clock. They'll bring you in and try to negotiate your case, and hearings will start at 10 an hour later.
Yes, sir.
But it will be April the 13th.
Yes, sir.
Port of Jefferson County, Texas. I wish you both the best of luck. You're both free to go. Miss Dominique Guidry, would you raise your right hand and tell me that your hand is in the air?
Yes, sir, it's in the air.
Miss Guidry, do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. You put your hand down. Mr. Polk, would you raise your right hand and tell me that your hand is in the air?
Yes, sir. Hands in the air.
Mr. Polk, do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. You can put your hand down. Miss Alexander, do you have any other witnesses besides the parties?
No other witnesses, Judge.
All right. And my understanding from talking with the parties prior to the hearing is that there is an agreement on this case.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Miss Alexander, your case has been called. You can call your first witness.
The state would call Miss Guidry. Miss Guidry, state your full name.
Dominique Guidry.
Okay. And what is the name of the child before the court? Okay. And what is Mallory's date of birth?
2021.
Who is the father of Mallory?
Polk.
And you both signed an acknowledgement of paternity for Mallory, correct?
Correct.
Okay. There has been some issues with family violence that happened last year. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And there were charges, and Mr. Polk was placed on probation. Is that correct? Is that your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
And he's currently on probation, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And part of that probation is he's not allowed to be around you, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So there's no issue. He's allowed to be around Mallory, just not around you, correct?
Correct.
So some of the parts of this agreement is based on that, and that we have someone else who's going to do the pickup and drop off, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's your agreement that there's going to be a non-disclosure in the order, meaning that your address will not be put in the record. Is that your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
And the agreement is going to be that you're going to be the sole managing conservator, and you will designate where Mallory lives within Jefferson County or any county that touches Jefferson County. Is that your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and we're going to start with some phased in visits, and those visits will start with supervised visits from 1 till 5 p.m. on the first, third, and fifth Saturday. And those visits will be supervised by your sister, Desiree Jackson. Is that your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
And that will be, each one of these phases will be 8 visits each phase. Is that your
Yes, ma'am.
agreement? So then the next set of visits would be 1 till 5 unsupervised. Then it would be 8. Then it would be 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. for 8 visits. And then dad would get overnights from Saturday to Sunday, 6 p.m.
Yes,
for
ma'am.
8 visits. And once he's done all of those visits, he would get the standard possession order. Is that your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And with your sister, and your sister will do all the drop off and pick up of Mallory at your sister's residence. Is that your agreement?
Correct.
Okay. And you're gonna, how is Mallory covered with health insurance?
Medicaid.
Okay, and you're gonna continue with that, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now we found out that dad doesn't work right now, but he's agreed to go into NCP choices. Is that your agreement for both of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Guidry, hold on one second, I'm asking, Mr. Polk, I'm sorry, I'm asking mom first and then I'll get to you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Okay, now we set his child support at $225 as he has no other children, and cash medical support of $25, and that will begin April 1st, 2023 for both of those. Is that your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you are asking for back child support, and I calculated that at $8,000. And that gave dad credit for direct payments he sent you, and also used wages that he's made for minimum wage this year and wages that he made last year based on what he told me is what the amount is. And that's $8,000 in retro child support. And then he's going to pay that back at $50 a month beginning April 1st, 2023. Is that your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There will be zero retro medical support and zero retro dental support. Is that your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you feel that these orders are in the best interest of Mallory?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you asking the judge to grant these orders?
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You can call your next witness.
The state will call Mr. Polk. Mr. Polk, what is your full name?
PR Herman Polk.
Okay, and just briefly, you are currently on probation for burglary of a habitat and domestic violence against mom. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you still got about 19 months, 20 months left on that probation, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it's your agreement that mom's address will not be put into the court record. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and is your agreement that mom will be the sole managing conservatorship and she will designate where Mallory lives within Jefferson County or any county that touches Jefferson County? Is that your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the visits that I listed out, they will start with supervised, then short visits, then a whole day, and then overnights, all of them being 8 visits each, which I stated to mom. Is that your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and mom's sister, Desiree Jackson, is going to supervise those visits, and she will also be the person that does the pickup and drop off of Mallory at Desiree's home. Is that your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, is it your agreement that you're going to go into what's called the NCP Choices program to help you find current employment? Is that your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and as you were recently laid off a few months ago, we've set your child support at minimum wage, and that's going to be $225 for child support. Medical support is $25, and both of those will begin April 1st, 2023. Is that your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you did tell me what you made last year, and I based retroactive child support based on that and what you made in 2021 and minimum wage for this year. And the total amount of retro child support, which gave you credit for direct payments you sent to mom, is $8,000, and that will be a payout of $50 a month to begin April 1st, 2023. Is that your agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions, Judge.
We'll call you next witness.
No further witnesses, Judge. Oh,
All right.
my apologies. I meant to ask Mr. Polk if this order is in the best interest of the child. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I meant to ask Mr. Polk if he felt these orders were in the best interest of the child. I forgot to ask.
Go ahead.
Mr. Polk, do you believe that these orders are in the best interest of Mallory?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you asking the judge to sign these orders and agree to these orders?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Judge. No further questions.
All right. So I understand there's agreement in this case, and Miss Alexander is going to send me a proposed order. If it matches what you guys told me on the record today is your agreement, I'm going to sign it and get it back to them. Miss Guidry, do you have any questions before I approve of the agreement?
No, sir.
Mr. Polk, do you have any questions before I approve of the agreement?
No, sir.
Court's going to find the court has jurisdiction. Court's going to find based on the agreement of the parties, I will find that it is in the child's best interest to name the mother as the sole managing conservator in this case, and Mr. Polk will be a possessory conservator. There will be a domicile restriction in this case. That's per the local rule, and the request for non-disclosure is granted. There will be phased-in visitation schedule with 8 visits at each phase, and that supervised visit will be conducted by Miss Guidry's sister. I will order Miss Guidry to maintain the health insurance that she has on the child. Mr. Polk has been kind enough to volunteer to go into the NCP Choices program. Child support will be set at minimum wage at $225 a month in child support, $25 a month in medical support, all beginning April the 1st, 2023. $8,000 in retroactive child support. What was the payout on the $8,000?
That was $50, Your Honor.
All right. That payment also beginning April 1st. And court costs September 30th of 2023. Does that take care of all the issues in this case, Miss Alexander?
Just one slight thing, and the pickup and drop off will be at mom's sister's house.
That's fine.
That's it.
All right. Mr. Polk and Miss Guidry, what's going to happen? They'll send me the proposed order. If it matches that, I'll sign it and get it back to them. Then they're going to make a copy of it and send it to each of you. Miss Guidry, do you have any questions about the ruling today?
No, sir.
Mr. Polk, do you have any questions about the ruling today?
No, sir.
All right. I wish you both the best of luck. I appreciate y'all working.